Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you for this talk, which is on a topic that's not going to be liked by people who deal in nutrition and dietitians. Basically, we are talking about phenomena that food is also data. There's something related to biointelligence part, which has been sadly neglected by these people so far. So, without much ado, let me share my screen. The title of today's talk is Food is Also Data. And normally, we have been conventionally treating food as only the material and molecular input, which is supposed to directly go and fill up the body, get consumed, and get excreted. So, that's the rather simplistic view of the whole thing. But food is also working on the intelligence part, and through the intelligence, it is doing many things. So we are going to talk about those things. It's a continuation of previous talk where similar topic we discussed about medication and therapies. Now today we are talking about the food and nutrition part. Okay. So this is the 10th talk of the series, and there is a point which is missed out by dietitians most of the time. Uh, that dietitians and allopathy system of medicine normally treat food and medicines merely as material inputs or molecular inputs to the body. And you break them up into constituents, they are only supposed to contain proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals, and water, of course. So, beyond that, they don't recognize those inputs anything other than these. Yeah. But, and the simplistic view is that body is almost like a leaky balloon, if I may say so, where something goes in, something burns away, something comes out, and the rest swells the body as if it were balloon, so bloating and gaining weight, etc. Yeah, but then body is also a computer, and food as well as all other inputs to the body are also data. So we are discussing this aspect today. And in the normal course, what happens with data, any computer data, and with any computer program, is not so much decided by the data value itself, but it is decided by the program. Okay, unless of course you starve the program of any data, so then the program will keep on waiting for data. Okay, and it will not be able to function the way it is supposed to function. But otherwise, whatever happens to data is decided largely by the program, not by the data. Okay, so that's what we are arguing today. Okay, so mostly dietitians are conditioned into focusing on calculations of calories and quantities and quality of nutrients, as if the material inputs that go inside will simply go and accumulate in the body unless they are spent or burnt away. Okay. Uh, if you consider this analogy that, okay, the material inputs are responsible for building the body and growth of the body. Well, infants have the highest rate of physical growth. It is visible in days and weeks and months. I mean, baby grows more than double of its physical size in few days, okay, in few weeks. While in this stage, the material intake is pretty low. It is very minuscule. So even with very less minuscule material input, the body is growing at that rate and by that much. So this theory gets punctured right there. That material which is going in is causing the body to grow. Okay. So even if say a lot of proteins are taken in diet, it is not as if those proteins will directly go somewhere and build the body, because ultimately first it will get digested, it will be broken up into amino radicals, and then body will synthesize proteins based on its DNA code and based on the cytoplasmic interspaces where the proteins, which are the birth canals for those proteins, so it will be shaped by those. It's not as if you take any protein directly and it will directly go and sit somewhere and replace something in the body. It's not going to happen that way. Yeah. And okay, proteins are proteins. They are made with DNA, with the genetic coding. But also indirectly, yes, the cellular intracellular processes do control the metabolism of carbs, the deposit or otherwise of fats, the burning of fats, and the use of minerals as catalysts, etc., and vitamins as cofactors to promote something or slow down something. And they may or may not get digested, absorbed, transported by the blood, and taken up by target tissue cells if the proteins on the membrane of those cells do not permit them, selectively permit them. And what the cells will do with them is decided by the cell, not by the food. Okay. So the chemical messengers and the physiological processes may or may not support the gainful utilization of whatever is taken in. That is adding another dimension of variability. Okay. And we have seen practically examples that there are very plump looking people, but they are eating much lesser than average. On the other hand, they are lanky fellows who may be voracious eaters, yet all their intake seem to be only going in their hair growth or something. Okay. So it does go somewhere, but then where it is getting appropriated is decided by the program of the body, not by the food. So by no means it could be inferred that the lanky ones are burning away all the excess calories through physical exercises. Even that evidence is not there. Okay. Because even if they exercise, their body weight is lesser, so they will burn fewer calories. So, and they are not supposed to, they are not seen to be doing those kind of exercises either. Okay. Now, uh, somewhat rigorous representation of what happens. I mean, dietitians just say that there is a food intake, something gets burnt in calories, something gets excreted, and the balance is swelling the body and making the body mass to grow. Okay. But consider that the food intake is first going through digestion, and the level of digestion will depend on the enzymes which are secreted. So some part of food intake only will get digested, the balance will just get passed and excreted just like that. Okay. And then out of whatever is digested, some part only will get absorbed through the microvilli, through the villi of the intestinal cell, to the lining of intestinal cell, depending on the proteins that are there in their cell membrane and what do they selectively decide to ingest and absorb. Okay. And so the proteins that are embedded on the cells, intestinal cells, is depending on genetic code. Okay, so that's the variability factor. Again, from person to person, there will be difference. So some part, smaller part will get absorbed, let us say. It will get passed into the bloodstream, and then through bloodstream, it gets transported all over the body. Again, with lot of variability of blood circulation parameters and stuff like that. Then it is presented to the cell wall of various tissues, and again the ingestion will depend on the proteins, the protein globular walls that are there on cell membranes. So what they selectively ingest in each cell, in each tissue, there is another variability level there. Okay. And finally, whatever goes inside the cell is supposed to get lysed. With lysosome, it gets dissolved, broken into fragments, and then those fragments are used for metabolism and for synthesis of protein. Okay. And so that again depends on cytoskeletal intelligence, it depends on genetic intelligence. Okay. And some part of that logic is also responsible for controlling the gross physiological parameters and chemical levels in the body outside the cell. And then the secretions of the enzymes for digestion, etc., and the factors which are governing transportation through the blood, all those get controlled. The liver gets controlled. Whatever liver functioning happens over the blood, whatever kidney function happens, all that gets controlled with these physiological parameters. Yeah. So there is so much of variability which has been rather oversimplified by people. Okay. And of course, whatever part of food is not appropriated inside the body goes directly and passes out as excretion. And excretion also, of course, some scavenging functions will add some constituents to excretion. And also the byproducts of lysing may go and get excreted. So this is the full rigorous picture. Now, with so much of variability in all these functions which are there in between, now it is preposterous to just say that okay, whatever food intake is responsible for whatever happens here after. There are so many stages of variability. Okay, so the body is supposed to maintain and regulate its own physiological parameters, including the body weight, including the BMI, bone mass, etc. Yeah, and including the blood sugar level, including the urea level. All those physiological parameters, the body is designed to maintain the level irrespective of fluctuations in the input side. It has some regulation function. And there is a range of value from here to here where the regulation will work and maintain it as a fixed value. So if any dietary changes are there within this green band, it is of no consequence because the body will successfully regulate the target parameter in the values that are designed by the body. But of course, if you overdo it, you may go in starvation range. Okay, so it's like starving program of data. So then program will stop working. It will keep on waiting for the data. It will not function the way it should. Now, if you go in extreme dieting, that is where you come. So you don't let the body systems regulate and work the way they are supposed to work and maintain the parameters the way they are supposed to be maintained. Yeah. On the other extreme, of course, you can have excessive inputs. Now, I won't say that excessive input will have no effect because if it is going beyond the regulation range, probably it will cause some toxicity or some ill effects of that excess, which may include also obesity sometimes. But sometimes, not all the times, not in all the cases. Most of the time, most of the people, the inputs are in this green band, and we keep trying to do dieting and regimen and try to bring it here so that per force the parameters come down, per force the body weight comes down. Okay, so that is the wrong part of it. Okay. So as I said, the pH, blood urea, blood sugar, BMI, body weight are supposed to be regulated, and the body knows the inherited, genetically inherited, the target values for all these parameters in various ages. Of course, depends on the age of the person, but for certain age person, body knows what should be the target weight, and it does maintain those values regardless of variations in material input, as long as the variations are within that green band. But obviously, there is a range of input values where the regulation is designed to work, and if you, of course, tread in starvation range of inputs, for you may still achieve some weight loss and some deliberate regimen you can enforce. But all these things will work for a while, but then it is not sustainable because the variability will adapt itself and again get back the set values of weight and all these parameters. So whatever regimen you do, whatever diet you do, after some time it stops working. Initially, in transitional period, it will work for a while. After that, you come back to the square one. I mean, you come back to the original value of your body weight and all. You're not able to sustain that for long. In the process of trying to tailor the inputs and your daily regimen, actually, inadvertently, we are denying the body the opportunity to learn and exercise the regulation mechanism and adaptation mechanism. The body is designed to adapt to our new natural lifestyle. Okay. which it will do it faster if we don't interfere with it. Okay. This new natural is the new term that I have picked up from new normal, which is often used nowadays. Okay. So new natural is our what is natural for us keeps on changing. Nowadays it is changing too fast. What was natural once is no longer natural for us now. Okay. So the body is designed to adapt to the new natural that we have. Now, if we don't force it, we don't try to cheat it by enforcing some regimen which is artificial, the adaptation will take much longer and body may forget to adapt also. That is the risk we are running. So the mechanism which nature has given to the body to regulate, those will stop working. And then you will be entirely dependent on manipulating the inputs for everything. That's the risk. Yeah. So generally it is said that we Indians have inherited a thrifty gene because there was a great famine historically. So our bodies have got a terrible tendency because of this gene to stock and reserve the fat, especially for gents it is on the paunch and around the waist, and for ladies it is in the hips. Okay, so that's our genetic makeup. That's what tends to happen because of this thrifty gene, because of the great famine which once came. It has modified our genetics. So our programs are like that, that it will be stored here. Okay, and when dietitians force us to make, what dietitians do is they are forcing us to tell our body that this is already famine. So we are cheating the body by simulating a famine condition, man-made famine, so that our thrifty genes are at comfort with the inputs and with the body. Okay, so famine is not there, but we are forcing famine. That's what we are doing. So if only our medical fraternity knew how to simply tell the body to change the set point for our weight regulation, for the blood sugar regulation, for the BMI regulation, for the blood urea regulation. Okay, but that's what we don't know, and we have not done research on that. And sadly, we have chosen to work on suppression of symptoms through control of inputs and forced regimen. Okay, so that's where we are. So our bodies, as I said, have been designed with biointelligence to adapt to slower environmental changes and match up with our new natural. Whatever is natural for us now, the body is designed to adapt for that. And it will adapt if we let it adapt. But instead of letting the body adapt, we try to temper and enforce an artificial regimen, trying to go back to natural living, which is no longer natural for us, thereby confusing our biointelligence about what is actual lifestyle requirement. Okay. From engineering perspective, if our body has more energy, where we should be attacking? We should be attacking at the production of sugar in the liver. But instead, we try to burn the excess sugar by burning the calories. And burning the calories for what? For wasteful use, non-productive use. When exercises are not productive use of calorie. The body is very energy efficient. It does not require that much energy. So we are artificially consuming that excess energy. Okay. And aiding to global warming, our own global warming inside the body, which is a waste. On one hand, we have super efficient body, energy efficient, but we are forcing it to operate at less efficient by dissipating the extra heat needlessly and unproductively. So, but we are not doing research in how to control the production of sugar in liver, how to tell the liver to produce less sugar, to produce less of glycogen. I mean, that is where we should be researching and working on at the root cause instead of compromising the efficiency of the body. Alternatively, we choose to starve the body of sugar intake. So we say take less intake because we don't know how to tell the body to convert less sugar. We go in starvation mode from the input side. While Why? It should always be possible for us to tell the body to simply reject the excess intake and regulate the level to the desired value. Okay. Now, the challenge is to find out how to tell the body to do that. So that's where the research should have been. Okay. So what will happen when data is fed to computer? It certainly depends on data, but it depends greatly on what computer program does with the data. So how to alter our program is something that we don't know. That is what we should be working on to find out. Okay. And food is not just a material input, it is also sensory input. So through the sense of vision, taste, smell, touch, our brain has unknowingly learned from these inputs in the past and associated them with many other related experiences. Okay. For example, mangoes come in summer. In India, they used to come in summer. Of course, even now they come in summer. So when mango is sensed through smell, through appearance, through taste, the body is automatically assuming that the summer is there or summer is going to come shortly. Okay. So body is in subconscious preparing itself for the summer proactively. Body has experience of what is summer, what are the problems in summer, what are the problems in winter. So certain foods, when they come, it triggers the body, it tells the body that look, summer is coming or winter is coming. And the body, unknowingly, the body mechanism, the neural intelligence comes into play and starts preparing by driving the physiological changes in parameters to prepare for summer or winter. Okay. For example, in winter you have a dry skin, so maybe it will generate a lot of lubricant in the skin, release a lot of fat. Sebaceous glands will be too active, okay, to make the skin supple to tide over winter. But in summer, the excess fat is a problem. It gives rise to summer heat rash. Yeah. So the body knows in which season what is to be done. It is not constant parameter. It is supposed to fluctuate depending on the perception of season and weather. Yeah. So it's not uncommon for us to experience that in summer there are eruptions and heat rash. If you eat excessive mangoes, for example, there is a heat rash. There is appearance of rash in the skin. And this is not something which dietitians can explain, because neither carbohydrates nor fats nor vitamins nor minerals can explain why eruptions should happen. Yeah. It is some neurotransmitter released by the nerve ends which leads to rash. Yeah. So this is not something which is controlled neurally through biointelligence, not directly by the material of food that you have consumed. Okay. So, and in summer, if you see a mango and your body prepares for summer and summer actually comes, it is fine. But if summer does not come, instead winter comes, then it becomes an allergic response by the body. That's what allergy is made up of. The body is having a threat perception of something, so it prepares for something, but something reverse happens actually. So you are cheating the body intelligence and doing the contrary. So whatever excess secretion may have happened will lead to the problem. Okay, will lead to runny nose in case of hot and cold alternation, for example. All the cough and cold are result of alternation of hot and cold. Yeah. So, and then histamine level goes up, then you consume anti-allergic to suppress that hyper response. Yeah. As a matter of fact, if somebody is allergic to mango, okay, when he eats mango, when he sees mango, when he smells mango, when he touches mango, one can understand that the allergy gets triggered. But it gets triggered even if by seeing the picture on TV or a photo in a magazine on a smartphone screen. So it is happening neurally through neural senses, through neural control, because suggestion of mango is preparing body for something, and that something does not happen, and it is allergy. Okay. So Conventional wisdom is defining the various foodstuffs into hot items, cool items, and neutral items. Now, these are the items. This is borrowed from public domain, this picture, and thanks to the creator of the content. But I am just showing it as a reference material, not dwelling too much on that. Now, these items, if you eat, it will prepare the body for summer, and it will may lead to heat rash, etc. Mangoes I don't see here, but yeah, mango is also there. Then there are some cool items like lemon, like cucumber, like probably this one, melon, watermelon, which prepares the body for winter, cool. Now, if winter does not happen, you will have a runny nose. Yeah. And then these are neutral items which are neither hot nor cold. So, conventional wisdom says that there are hot food items and there are cold food items, which our dietitians don't recognize because I mean they don't go beyond proteins, fats, vitamins, carbohydrates. So just as mangoes got heat in the body, so also dry fruits do. Even ice does. Ice is hot. Ice cream is cold, but ice is hot. Wearing diamond produces heat. Effect of summer. Okay. Wearing gold is hot. Wearing silver is cold. Wearing pearls is cool. So the materials, the gems, the food stuff, okay, they are all acting as data to the body and they are preparing the body for either summer or winter. Okay. So typical symptoms of excessive heat in the body is nose bleeding, runny nose, heat rash. Okay. And cold is runny nose, dry skin. Okay. Cracks in the skin. Things like banana, curd, srikhand, ice cream, if particularly consumed at night, is known to cause cold. Also, wearing pearls sometimes may cause cold, runny nose, etc. Okay. So, conventional wisdom also had certain rules prohibiting combination of certain food items as no go. For example, it was prohibited to drink water after having banana because it used to create problem. Cough and cold. It used to lead to cough and cold, bad throat. Similarly, having red wines with prawn creates problem. And mushrooms have problems with many other items to be taken together with mushrooms. It's known the poisoning effect of mushroom. Yeah. So there are certain items which certain combinations which don't go together as per conventional wisdom. Now all these things dietitians are not recognizing. Now there are stories that delicate, hypersensitive Nawabs of Lucknow, Nazakat Lucknow, they had very strict rules that which perfumes are to be used in which season because they used to get allergies if some wrong perfume is worn by somebody. Yeah. So there were strict rules. And but what has happened nowadays that when I was young, I remember that banana used to come only in monsoon, only in rainy days. But nowadays you get bananas all around the year. So they have become available perennially. So whatever message they conveyed to the body and whatever body prepared seeing banana is no longer valid because now banana is coming around the year. So this has become the new natural for us. That's what I call it, new natural. Our definition of natural has changed. So now the body is to unlearn the earlier correlation and relearn the new natural, which is also happening and which will also happen eventually. It will take some time. It will have some initial trouble, some hiccups. After that, it will happen. Yeah. So what is our new natural? Now, normally we are inclined to assume that anything herbal is essentially good and anything synthetic and chemical is bad, without realizing that many poisons and narcotics have actually herbal origin. So anything that is herbal is not automatically good and beneficial, first of all. and anything which is chemical is not necessarily bad. Okay, so we have a somehow a strange notion that if we go back to so-called natural way of life, it is better for us. And in trying to do that, we try to follow a lifestyle which has become alien to us now. So when we say natural lifestyle, we are talking of lifestyle around 100 or 200 years back, rural rather than urban kind of thing. But we dare not go farther back, because if we go to Stone Age, probably the natural then is no longer natural for us at all by any stretch. Okay, so we can't go back further than 200 years or so. Okay, so we try to adopt the regimen and practices of what used to happen 200 years back at the most as natural. But even that is far from that was far from natural. Lot of evolution had happened by then. Lot of corruption of nature had already happened even at that time. Yeah. So our new natural today will have computers, cell phones, metros zooming around, lot of electromagnetic smog, lot of staring at blue screens, and our bodies have been adapting to these. They have already adapted to many of these, and but and it makes more sense that our body adapts to all these changes faster, rather than we trying to force our body to learn things like horse riding skill, which has become irrelevant except for sport. Yeah, our lifestyle does not need that skill anymore. Okay, but in the name of going close to nature, we may still learn that. Okay, so that is where we are coming from. So the conclusion is, dietitians try to balance material and calorie input with consumption through regulated inputs and exercises, etc. So we are working at the input level and forcing the body on some regimen. But then they do not work on managing selective absorption, selective conversion, and appropriation by the body, which is vastly variable from individual to individual and time to time. And from biointelligence features, all these ought to be controllable. They are very much controllable. Okay. It should certainly be possible to teach our body to simply ignore the excessive inputs. It's our problem that we do not know how to do it. So we have to work on that problem. Yeah. Nature has designed our body to adapt to whatever lifestyle we have. But we are made to believe that we must manage our diet and lifestyle artificially so that body does not have to adapt. And that's another extreme. Body is designed to adapt, but we don't want body to adapt. We want to force the inputs. Body does have the mechanism to regulate its weight if we are overweight. It is not so much because of diet, but because of the set point of our target weight, which has somehow got shifted on higher side. All we have to do is to tell the body to correct the set point, and the servo controls in the body will maintain that new value of weight. Okay, it's our problem that we do not know yet how to alter the set points in the body, and that is where the research should have been focused. Now there is to suggest what remedies could be used for this, teaching the body how to regulate, for example, the set points. The ancient empirical knowledge of leveraging neural intelligence through yoga mudra. Now this is a picture from public domain. Various hand gestures are there. Yoga mudras are there to control various things. I'm not going into detail. You can refer the text. A lot of literature is available on these. What does what? Okay. So the promising thing is we are not able to learn these things because there is no feedback. So there is an important area of biofeedback. It's a promising area of research. Okay. And what is biofeedback is that whatever non-voluntary controls are there in our body, they are non-voluntary because we have no sensors giving us feedback that we can act upon consciously and control. Okay. If, for example, we have a reading of our heartbeat in front of our eyes, okay, I mean, we will learn how to control the heartbeat. So also, yes, controlling blood sugar. If blood sugar is shown in front of our eyes all the time, we will learn how to control it. By dietary inputs and otherwise, also we'll learn more by otherwise rather than dietary input. Dietary input, okay, is one part. But we have other mechanism which we can learn how to control. Okay. So we could learn through coordinated subtler muscle actions, postures, mudras, thoughts, awareness. We know doing what we are able to control these things. We will learn that. Okay. There are many things which our hardware is capable of, but the software is missing because we have never learned those things. The important discriminator between other animals and men are that we are able to manipulate the individual fingers and individual joints of the fingers, which other animals cannot. They can't move a finger independently, they have to move all the fingers together. Like there are dancers, with great practice, they learn how to move only a single muscle, only a single joint on a randomly given command. They are able to do. But most of us will not be able to, let us say, lift just one finger in our toe. We can't just, the hardware is there, but we don't know how to command only one finger to rise and not others. Okay. So we can't bend just one finger of our toe without disturbing others besides them. So it's something to be learned by practice, and dancers do learn. So if they can learn, all of us can also learn, certainly, if we practice. Okay. And biofeedback gives us such a mechanism that we will be able to exercise those muscles which control these parameters, and whereby we are able to control even the target set points for things like physiological parameters. We know exactly precisely which muscle has to be exercised where, which thought, which input, which gesture, which posture helps us doing that. We'll be able to find out. Okay. So biofeedback is a potent mechanism of self-learning how to regulate our own body. Okay. So thus involuntary processes could be made voluntary. We will know how to control. Simple. The only hitch is, as I said in previous video, that I mean, it should not become irreversibly voluntary. Otherwise, for every heartbeat, we have to consciously give a command, and then that becomes a big tax on brain. Yeah. So some certain things are designed to be a non-voluntary. They should better remain non-voluntary. But certain things out of this, if they become voluntary, also is okay. And if they can be reversible, that sometime it is voluntary, but it is also non-voluntary. That is the best situation, probably. Now, in the end, I welcome you all to learning our own solutions with data and feedback. This picture, all of you know, is Delhi Airport. These hand gestures, these mudras, yoga mudras, which we have to learn and master with a simple neural map of the body. We know pressing which point controls what. Okay. Now, such things we are able to learn with biofeedback, and we are with biofeedback we are able to master the control of our body much better than what we can do by manipulating the nutritional inputs. And so, otherwise, stand by for the next two talks, the last two talks of this series. In the next talk, we are talking about the possibility of superhuman life. It's an interesting, it's a different topic, more philosophical maybe than biological. But yes, what are the possibilities of finding superhuman life? That will be our next video. And the last video of the series, of course, we'll focus more on what engineers could learn from biointelligence and do some innovations in engineering field, and what biology people and medicos can learn from engineers and do some innovations in their own sphere. So watch out for these two talks, which will be released soon. And until then, bye bye, good luck.